Okay, picture this. You are physically, literally, chained to your ex for 30 days straight. Now, what if I told you there was $250,000 on the line? Well, this was the bonkers setup for one of the wildest social experiments ever put on camera.
No, really, think about it for a second. The old arguments, the super awkward silences, sharing a bathroom. Could you actually do it, even for that much money? Well, for a couple of people, this wasn't just some crazy hypothetical. It was a 30-day challenge that would put their entire history, their patience, and their trust to the ultimate test. So, how did this whole experiment even work? The idea was pretty simple, but the stakes, they were sky high from the get-go. Let me introduce you to Josh and Suzie. They were in a serious relationship for 4 years, but that ended 3 years ago. And as Josh likes to point out, she broke up with me. And yeah, you can tell he's still a little salty about it. And this, right here, is why they're willing to put themselves through potential torture. A life-changing $250,000. They split it, but only if they can both last the full 30 days. The rules seem kind of manageable at first. They start with a 60-foot chain, which sounds like a lot, right? Plenty of room to stay out of each other's hair. But here's the real kicker, the most important rule of all. If one of them decides to quit, they both walk away with absolutely nothing. Zero. Yeah, that 60-foot comfort zone, it was never going to last. This whole experiment was designed to push them closer and closer together, and that is exactly when the fireworks started. We're only on day 5 when they get a choice. Cut the chain in half, down to 30 feet, and they'll add an extra 25 grand to the prize pot. Susie's basically like, I was around you for 4 years for free, so of course they take the deal. And almost instantly, things get ugly. With their personal space cut in half, the vibe just completely shifts. Little things that were maybe annoying before are now huge fights. They start throwing these little jabs at each other, with Josh telling Suzie she looks gross, and she just fires right back, calling him a D-bag. You could cut the tension with a knife. And of course, they're seeing the same situation from 2 completely different planets. Josh thinks his comments are just jokes and that Suzie is the one blowing everything out of proportion. Meanwhile, Suzie feels like he's doing it on purpose, trying to humiliate her on camera and make her feel like she's just a sidekick in his story. After this huge, explosive fight, they have this moment of clarity. They realize there is no way they're going to make it to day 30 if this keeps up. So they call a truce. But let's be real. This is a truth of convenience. It's a business decision. The plan is just survive, get the cash, and then probably never speak to each other again. Or so they thought. But you know, being stuck with someone 24/7 has a funny way of forcing you to deal with stuff. And what started as just a pact to get through it, well, it slowly starts to turn into something else. They go from wanting to kill each other to, well, something that actually starts to look a lot like a friendship. You can actually watch them rebuild their connections step by step. It all starts with something simple, just cooperating to rearrange the furniture. But that little act of teamwork opens the door for a really raw, honest conversation about why they broke up. And that leads to these small gestures of care. Suzie making a heart-shaped breakfast, Josh setting up a surprise date night. They're actually connecting again. I mean, just look at this contrast. It says it all. They went from Suzie saying Josh made her want to die to Josh admitting he never really stopped loving her. That is some serious emotional whiplash. And it all leads up to this moment. Josh asks her out on a proper date for when this whole thing is over, and she says yes. It really looks like they've done it. They've found their way back to each other. But the experiment isn't done with them yet. Right when they're finally on the same page, feeling good about each other, the game completely changes. The producers throw in one final twist, designed to put all that newfound trust to the ultimate test. So, on day 25, the game flips from a team challenge to a potential betrayal. They're each handed a key to their own handcuff. The new rule? It's winner take all. If one person unlocks, they get everything. The full prize money, both cars. The other person gets zilch. And just to dial up the pressure, they bring in a lie detector to find out what they're really thinking. And the results? Oh boy, they are messy. When Josh is asked if he'd steal the money, his no comes back inconclusive, shaky. Then he's caught in an outright lie when he says he isn't better off single. But Suzie? She's a rock. The test says it's true she won't unchain herself. And it's true that Josh is in her vision for a perfect future. All of a sudden, that trust they rebuilt is looking super fragile. So this all sets the stage for the final countdown. They each have the power to completely betray the other person. Every single second that ticks by is just loaded with tension. So what's it going to be? The money or each other? And then, with just 24 hours left, a bombshell. Josh finally reveals this massive secret he's been holding on to. Just before she broke up with him 3 years ago, he had bought an engagement ring. He was going to propose. This just changes everything, adding this incredible emotional weight to their final decision. But even after revealing Mad, Josh keeps twisting the knife. He reminds Suzie, and maybe himself, that he could still just take the money and run. He even calls it the ultimate revenge for the breakup. You're left wondering, is he serious or is he just pushing her buttons one last time?
The final seconds are ticking away. 3, 2, 1. This is it. Will one of them grab the key? The money, the cars, the revenge, it's all right there for the taking. And the time is up. Neither of them moved. They chose each other, they split the $250,000, they are finally unchained, and the very first thing they do as two free people, they kiss. What an ending! So in the end, what did we actually just watch? Was this insane, high-pressure situation the only way these two could find their way back to a second chance at love? Or was this all just the world's most expensive and most public therapy session? Something to think about for sure.